books for you to choose from, like J.R.R. Tolkien's delightful tale of fantasy and magic, The Hobbit. In this fantasy classic, master storyteller J.R.R. Tolkien creates a bewitching world filled with delightful creatures and thrilling dangers. And narrator, Rob Ings, will hold listeners of all ages spellbound, with his skillful portrayal of hobbits, dwarves, and enchanted beasts. Get The Hobbit, or any one of 100,000 other audiobook titles, when you take advantage of this special offer, available to our listeners only. It couldn't be more simple. Log on to www.audibletrial.com/olduncle and get your free audiobook download, plus a 30-day free trial to audible.com. Or, in the alternative, you could visit www.oldunklebastard.com and click the banner ad for audible.com. This special offer is for our listeners only. So if you tell anyone at all, Old Uncle Bastard will hunt you down like a dog. And nobody wants that, now do we? www.audibletrial.com/oldunklebastard. What in God's name are you waiting for? Well, what do you know? It wasn't Paterico in the toilet after all. It was a large clog of poo. Seems as if our uncle is getting plenty of fiber. Now, back to the show.
Yeah, eating pretty good these days. This is the Old Uncle Bastard Show. I'm Bill Schmalfeld, the Liberal Grouch. Don't forget you can always reach me on Twitter, @LiberalGrouch. Within about a half an hour after the show is done, it'll be posted online at www.oldunclebastard.com. And I've been getting a lot of support on Twitter from folks who were excited to hear, really excited to hear, about my idea of what I'm calling the Stranahan Grand. Now, that idea is we as a community raise $1,000 and wave it under con artist, grifter, and suitcase pimp Lee Stranahan's nose to see if that might entice him to overcome his fear of telling the truth and agree to an hour-long pre-recorded interview with moi, yours truly. Well, I ran into something of a setback yesterday. I attempted to put up a Kickstarter project toward this end, but they turned it down. So I started to throw together a project on rally.org, but the further I got into it, the more I realized that's not the way I wanted to go, because they don't take PayPal. They want all your credit card information, which is why rally.org seems so popular with conservative crooks like Ali Akbar and Todd Kincannon, and they're so fond of it as a fundraising mechanism. They get all that cool information about you, you understand. So what I've done instead, and I hope you'll like this idea, I've retooled my own website, theliberalgrouch.com. And you have to put that "the" on there. theliberalgrouch.com. I've turned it into a site for the Stranahan Grand. When you get a chance, take a look. It's theliberalgrouch.com. And I've said this before, but I'll say it again for the benefit of those who may be listening in for the first time. For months, I've been challenging Lee Stranahan to sit down and tell me the truth. For months, he has dodged me. He defames me. He lies about me. He's raised money off of my name, but he will not engage me. In September 2012, Lee Stranahan sent the Howard County, Maryland police to my house to investigate a quote-unquote threat that I made. The nature of that threat has changed depending on which version of the story he's telling. First, he said I threatened to rape his wife. Then it was I threatened to rape his wife and kids. Then it was him, his wife and kids, that I intended to rape. And he did this knowing full well that after 13 years with Parkinson's disease, I'm unable to walk without assistance, let alone rape anybody. I need my rolling walker just to move around the house. I don't have a driver's license, and I live 1,400 miles away from Dallas, Texas, all of which are facts known by Lee Stranahan. I would have had to ask my wife to drive me to Dallas to do all this raping. I can just hear that conversation now. Honey, are you doing anything over the next 4 days? What do you got in mind? Well, I want to go to Dallas, Texas, and rape Lee Stranahan, his wife, and his children. Well, why do you want to do that? I don't know. It just occurred to me. I thought it might be a fun thing to do. Well, that's a long way to go for something like that. Wouldn't you rather have a chocolate chip cookie instead? Yeah. That's how that would go. The police looked at my computer, saw what I actually wrote, laughed, apologized for disturbing me, and left. Still, for months, Stranahan used this fabricated threat to raise money from his stupid supporters on PayPal, saying he needed to move immediately to protect his family from the horrible old man who cannot walk unassisted. He raised God knows how much money when his right-wing bloggy pals like Michelle Malkin and Aaron Walker and Patorico, who we just fished out of my toilet, told the story of the horrible old man who wanted to do harm to this nice family in Texas. Look at the video I've got up on theliberalgrouch.com and see what kind of shape I'm in to do all this raping. And as recently as February 2nd, just 3 days ago, Aaron Walker, the lying blogger who lies about the reason he was fired from his job, saying that it was because of terroristic threats by Brett Kimberlin, the liar who was fired because he was a shitty lawyer, not because of anything Brett Kimberlin did, the liar who filed a pauper appeal to reinstate a case that was laughed out of court by 2 different courts. He tried to reinstate it in Virginia and had his application for a pauper appeal, meaning he would get to file an appeal and you would have to pay for it. He had that laughed out of court. 3 days ago on his blog, Aaron Walker said this, quote, "Here is where his harassment of Lee Stranahan drove Lee to abandon his home." Lee Stranahan didn't abandon his home. The only thing Lee Stranahan has ever abandoned is common decency, morality, and good judgment. Stranahan continues to evade my questions. He did not move, even though he must have earned a bundle during that emergency relocation PayPal drive. Here's a guy who used to sell his own wife to anyone who had $299 to come by his home studio, where he homeschools his kids, to pose for pornographic pictures with her. And if he had $650, she would bring these pictures to your house, apartment, or hotel room for a private session to deliver the finished portraits for a 2-hour session. What in God's name is this woman doing for 2 hours that would cost you $650? So, we know that Lee Stranahan is motivated by money. Will $1,000 be enough to overcome his fear of talking to me. I will pay Lee Stranahan up to $1,000 for a 1-hour interview. I will send it to him via PayPal after the interview is recorded, but before it is aired. Stranahan must agree to answer every question I ask. He must be polite because I will be polite. In the event Stranahan turns down this offer, if we manage to raise the $1,000 or any amount on my website, the Stranahan Grand, well, I'll donate whatever money is raised to charity, or I'll return it to your PayPal account on your request. Now, again, the website is theliberalgrouch.com. If you donate $10, you'll get your name mentioned on the Roll of Honor in the left sidebar of the website. If you donate $25, I will create a sponsor logo in whatever name you choose in the banner of honor, which will run at the bottom of the screen. If you donate $50, you'll get a special mention in the banner of honor and a mention on this show, the Old Uncle Bastard radio show. If you donate $100 or more, you'll get a 10-minute pre-recorded interview to be aired on the Old Uncle Bastard show and honorable mention in the banner of honor. Again, go to the theliberalgrouch.com and take a look. If you have a PayPal account and you would like to at least see if Lee Stranahan will take $1,000 to overcome his fear of me, his fear of telling the truth, what the fuck? Toss in $1 or $2. Like I said, if he turns us down, you'll get a refund. Or I'll donate it to a charity of your choice. But there was an awful lot of enthusiasm expressed on Twitter when I first broached this idea. Now that it's a reality, and the website is up and running and waiting for your donations, let's see who's ready to put their money where their mouth is.
Oh, goodness gracious. It appears as if disgraced attorney, Aaron Walker, is panhandling for handouts on our lawn again. While we shoo him away, listen to these messages.
Pull the string. Dance to that. Which one is created for?
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
There is only one website that has its finger on the slow and thready pulse of the dying Breitbart Empire. And that is the website, Breitbart Unmasked. Our publisher, the Watchful Avenger, knows things that you don't know. And he knows them first, before anyone. Because he's watchful. He is the Watchful Avenger. And he is assisted in the day-to-day watchfulness by his incredibly handsome editor, the Liberal Grouch. They don't call him the Liberal Grouch because he's polite. He's as liberal as they come. And grouchy? You bet he is, working side by side, like Batman and Robin, but without the homoerotic tension. The Watchful Avenger and the Liberal Grouch keep tabs on who's doing what to who, over in the decomposing corpse of dead Andy's once mighty empire. And when that slow, thready, very weak pulse finally slows to a final stop, never to beat again, and the last blast of gas escapes from the bloated carcass, the Watchful Avenger and the Liberal Grouch will be there to tell you about it, like Chit Huntley and David Brinkley, but without the homoerotic tension. So log on to www.breitbartunmasked.com and subscribe for free daily email updates. That's www.breitbartunmasked.com. It's got a harder edge than Daily Cos, and it's more fun than the Drudge Report, with none of the homoerotic tension. breitbartunmasked.com. Read it. You need it.
Say, here's how to make breakfast as exciting as a